Welcome back to Carolina Fishing TV.
I'm Karen Altman. I work for the Resource Management Division of the park. We're in charge of protecting the park's natural resources, and that includes searching for and monitoring nesting sites of protected species such as our birds and sea turtles. Today we're at a loggerhead sea turtle nest. So we are in hatching season right now. After a nest hatches, we go in and excavate it. What we're looking for is to see how many eggs have hatched, how many turtles made it out of the nest successfully, how many didn't hatch, just to get an overall view as to our success rate. We come by every day and check, and we'll look for like this depression here in the sand where the hatchlings start to come out of their eggs and they work their way up in the sand column. It displaces the sand and leaves this depression. So once we start to see this, we know either the hatchlings have come out or are ready to come out. So this one hatched 5 days ago. So we're ready to go ahead and excavate and see how well it did. Down in here, this is where the nest cavity is. It's nice and soft. And we're going to do by hand first until we hit that screen. There's a flipper right there. So, yeah, we want to gently just kind of help him come out. There's our first little hatchling. What we're going to do, we'll go ahead and put him in this bucket and keep him kind of sheltered until we get the rest of the nest dug up. And if he has any siblings, we'll let them all go together. Just make sure that there isn't any.
There's another one.
That's what we want to make sure before we start digging too hard. Now during nesting season, we start doing our patrols early in the morning. We cover all of the beaches by ATV and actually look for tracks. You can see the tracks where the female has come out of the water the night before, and you'll see a big area of sand disturbance, and that's how we know where the nest site actually is. And once we see that, we confirm all of our nests. So we do dig down into all those areas and locate exactly where the nest is at. Predator cages, which we're getting to, on all of our nests to help protect against predation from raccoons. The incubation is typically about 60 to 65 days. So at about day 50 is when we'll come out and we'll close down the section of beach. Any tire marks or anything like that, the beach is nice and smooth, so the hatchlings don't have any obstacles when they make their way to the ocean. Nesters that we have are the loggerheads, and we do have green sea turtles and occasional leatherbacks. The leatherbacks, when they nest, they usually nest earlier in the season than the rest of them do. Since we're at the northernmost limits of the nesting areas, they believe that we're an important producer of males. We're in the northern climates, we have cooler nesting beaches, so they think we produce more males than females. Participating in a study where we actually take little hobo temperature data loggers, and we'll bury them in the nests and also do a sand temperature right next to the nest. And after the nest is hatched, we collect those hobos and download the temperature data. It's set to collect temperatures every 2 hours. So you can see the eggs are, they're not like a chicken egg where they're hard. They're really soft and leathery. And that's when the female is laying her eggs. She digs this pit so the eggs drop into it. And it helps with like a shock absorber. If they were hard, they'd hit and break, but this way they just kind of dent and form into each other. We first locate the top of the nest. We measure down to the depth of where the eggs first are. When we remove the eggs, we measure the width and the depth again of the nest so we can recreate the nest cavity as best as humanly possible. So really the hatchlings at night, if we put the screens on to protect against raccoons digging down into the nest site, but once they come out of the nest, there's no protection for them. They're kind of on their own to get by the raccoons and the ghost crabs. The ghost crabs are pretty abundant at night out here. Each female can lay up to about 6 or 7 nests per season, and then they take a season off. So they're laying about every other year or every 3 years. Are you at the bottom of the nest? Let's go ahead and let these hatchlings go. And then we'll come back and we'll count these out. We'll put them in piles of 10. We're just going to move them down the beach a little bit closer to the tide. They've got a long ways to go yet. We continue to monitor for new nest sites up until September 15th. And that's what we'll see in the morning after a hatch. When we come up on the nest site, we'll see, a bunch of those little tracks going into the ocean. They're both in?
There he is. It'll take a while to get out.
We can check the stage of development. Usually if they haven't hatched by this point in time, they're not going to. So we'll go through, we'll count the eggshells, put them into piles of 10 just to count and see how many were actually in the nest. And then we can figure out what the success of the nest was. Okay, so our total clutch then was 107.
Don't go anywhere. Carolina Fishing TV will be right back.